What I wanted to do is talk about how beautiful storytelling is from the standpoint of all the fundamentals and how they have the potential to work together to make a really strong, wonderful story. And the reason I wanted to talk about this today is because, well, we had 4 outstanding submissions. I think it was a really, really strong week. 2 of them being first chapters. And I was just so excited about what everyone's doing. And I really felt that you gave such great examples of strong coherence in storytelling. So today I wanted to talk about cohesion, and especially with a slant on stakes, what the stakes are in a novel, and how they serve to tie the story together, because you all have such obvious, powerful stakes in your stories. And I just wanted to make a bunch of, I don't know, connections today. So before we get into this discussion of stakes, though, I wanted to remind everyone about what makes a great story. And we've talked about this before, about how this is very basic, but sometimes it's good to go back to the basics. So there are certain fundamental aspects that are evident in almost every great story. They start with characters. In fact, I would say that's evident in any great story, regardless. If you don't have characters, you really don't have a story. Another thing that's really obvious is a world, because if you don't have a world, you have no place for the characters to exist. Consequently, you have to have conflict, because if you don't have conflict, what you have is vignettes, or just sort of like a plodding along on a map like this. Conflict gives you that propelling force that drives the narrative arc or the plot of the story. And the final thing that we haven't discussed yet is theme. And theme is what we are trying to convey in terms of a message with a story. I don't think any good story lacks a theme. It doesn't have to hit you over the head, but it is essential, and you should be able to walk away from a story and say the theme of that story was redemption, or legacy, or discovery, or love, whatever. It could be any number of things, but there usually is one that's primary. One thing that's not on this list that I think is equally important is language, because language is really essential to tying all of these elements together. And I don't mean the mechanics of language, but rather the beauty, the literary aspects of language that have that power to amplify certain things, minimize others, shade some and make them opaque, and then draw them out over time. Language is probably my favorite part of writing, but it's something that needs to, some people, and some people in this group have it. Actually, everybody in this group has it in their first draft, but it's rare. Okay, it's rare to have beautiful language right away. And I don't encourage you to write beautifully right away unless you can't help yourself, which is obvious in this group, because it can get in the way, as we've talked about before, of developing a strong story. So we've talked about killing your darlings or delaying your darlings. That stands, that notion stands. Get the story nailed down first. But these elements that you see in our little story wheel and language are the 6 elements that are essential to a coherent story. So what are the stakes? What are stakes in a story? They're what the characters have to gain or lose, and they drive the conflict of a story. It could be physical. They may be potentially losing their lives if they don't do something to avoid that fate. It may be something emotionally that is extremely important in terms of their well-being, or morally, a moral decision they have to make, or a social decision that they have to make, so they're not ostracized, or so that they can do something important within a group of people. So there are a variety of reasons for stakes, and they are something often the main character protagonist has something both to gain and to lose. You'll find that they're all on the same spectrum. So from gain to lose, one end of the spectrum to the other. So with that in mind, I want to dive into our stories, and I'm going to stop sharing this. There we go. I want to dive into your beautiful work. I was so impressed with everybody today. I usually am, but for some reason it was really virtuoso work today for everyone. I saw everyone kind of getting over a hump. And I think you probably all did as well and are excited to discuss it. So,
Bardsy delivers the tools, guidance, and support you need to produce compelling novels. Our well-researched and thoroughly tested approach includes our minimum complete story, a 90-second exercise that keeps your writing on track while fueling creativity. Bardsy Publishability Index, a 23-dimension checklist that offers attainable goals and provides actionable feedback. And our brand new comprehensive character developer that helps you construct unforgettable characters. Come see for yourself at Bardsy.com today. Try our workshop or enter our first chapter contest. Then, when you're ready, Elite Membership delivers writing groups, personal coaching, and a curated community. With Bardsy, your work will captivate everyone, from agents to publishers, and, most importantly, your readers.